Shavua Tov, everyone. Welcome to video number 41 in our What's Up Stories group. 2 days ago was the Yortzeit of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Chaya Mushka Schneerson, 22nd of Shvat. I'd like to tell a story about her, but first allow me to read a brief biographical introductory note as background. Rebbe Chaya Mushka Schneerson was the daughter of the 6th Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak Schneerson. On the 14th of Kislev in 5689, that is December 1928, she married her distant cousin, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson, in Warsaw, in a wedding attended by many chassidic Rebbes and leading Torah scholars of the generation. She devoted herself totally to supporting her husband in his role as the leader of world Jewry, and was known in her own right for her modesty, erudition, piety, and good deeds. The Rebbe would sometimes tell the following story. We know the story from Rabbi Grona, one of the Rebbe's personal secretaries. It was subsequently transcribed and among other places it appeared on L'Chaim Weekly, from where I downloaded and adopted it. I emailed it to my list a year ago, and it is called We Don't Ask Twice, We Just Listen. There was a certain family in Borough Park. They were relatives of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. Whenever there was something they needed to consult the Rebbe about, they would telephone to the Rebbitzin and tell her their question for the Rebbe. She would ask the Rebbe and relay to them, and she'd call them back to relay to them the Rebbe's answer. One time they called her to inform her that the mother of the family was very ill. She was in the hospital, and the doctors were insisting that it's necessary to do surgery. So they were calling to get the Rebbe's permission and blessing for the surgery. When the Rebbe came home, she told him about their question, and the Rebbe said, "Tell them I said they should not operate." So she told them. They were surprised, but they went along with it. But a few days later, they called, and so the doctors are saying that her condition has deteriorated, and she's endangering her life by not allowing us to do surgery. So they were calling to see if the Rebbetzin would ask the Rebbe again, given this new information from the doctors. The Rebbetzin said like this: in Lubavitch, we do not ask twice. I consider myself as a chassid of the Rebbe, my husband, and I do as the chassidim do. We don't ask twice. There's already an answer from the Rebbe. They were quite distraught by this answer of hers, and she, of course, realized that. She said to them, "This is what I'll do. When the Rebbe comes home tonight, if he asks me about what happened with the mother, so then I'll tell him what you called and requested. But I'm not going to ask again." So that's what happened. The Rebbe came home. At some point, he asked any news from the family, and she told him that they'd called and again asked about whether they should do the surgery because the doctors were pressing that her condition based on the fact that her condition had deteriorated. The Rebbe said, "I already told them not to operate." So she informed the family of this, and it was hard for them, but they swallowed it. But a few days later, they called again. They said, "This time the doctors have said her life is actually endangered from further deterioration in her condition, and they want us to sign a form absolving them of all responsibility in her situation, since we won't allow them to do surgery. So maybe based on this, you can ask the Rebbe again." She said, I won't ask again. We don't ask twice, but again, when the Rebbe, when the Rebbe inquires about what's going on, I will inform him of what you told me. And that's what happened when the Rebbe asked. She told him, and the Rebbe got very serious, and he said. She immediately called the family to tell them what the Rebbe had advised, and they communicated this to the doctors, and the doctors basically laughed. They said, "This is not such a time for medicine. This is absolutely requires surgery." What the Rebbe thinks he knows more than the doctors know, that he studied medicine, and they just didn't take it seriously. The family, however, did take it seriously, and they went from department to department in the hospital, hoping and trying to find a doctor that would understand them and understand their viewpoint. Uh, finally, finally, they found one doctor who was willing to listen, and he said, "You know, I think I know the medicine that the Rebbe is referring to." He said, "Look, I wear a white coat. I can go anywhere I want in the hospital. I'll go in to see your mother when there's no one else around, and I'll try it." So that's what happened. He went. He was able to be alone with the woman, and he injected her with this medicine. Uh, and the next day, the doctors told the family that, much to their surprise, our situation seemed to have stabilized. It wasn't deteriorating anymore. They still felt the surgery was necessary, but they admitted that the life-endangering situation had decreased. A few days, 2 days later, this doctor gave the mother another injection, and following that, the next day or two, the doctors admitted there was even some improvement in her situation. And thus it continued. He told them he would continue to look in on her, and every once in a while, when he thought appropriate, he gave her another injection of the medicine, until finally she had recovered enough that the doctors agreed to dismiss her, and she was able to return home. When the Rebbe informed the Rebbe of the good news that the mother had returned home, he said the first time they asked, I could see that if she went onto the operating table, she would never come out of it alive. And that's why I said, don't do the operation. When they asked again, I realized that I thought that when I had told them that not the first time that that would be enough, but when they asked the second time and I refused, so I assumed that then they would tell the doctor their position and would suggest medicine. But when I asked the third time, and I see they didn't get it, so I told them to try medicine. Baruch Hashem, it worked out. And the Rebbe added that he said that the Rebbe subsequently said, you can see how important it is when you get an answer from us. You should just follow through with it. I can't. Sorry.